Laura?
Anyway, I don't know the answer either, but I bet they're like 500, skin whitening products. So now you're the 501st, and then okay, but probably I can believe that your product works better because it's got real medicinal plant, but I think the difficulty here again, it comes down to how to compete with all the other skin whitening product. I think also this type of product is very hard to protect because I think it probably not patentable, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you have to keep it secret, and then how to uh, develop. Like, is your plan to develop your own cosmetic brand, or you plan to sell the product to the existing brand? And this is a very good introduction to business model. So here we have like a business model question. Actually came up pretty much in the last two presentations. We had business model questions. So we have developed this very exciting innovation. How do we sell it? Should we, in the previous presentation, I talked about the licensing the IP. Should we do joint venture? Should we develop the patent together with a company? So these are all different business model. And then here we have also business model question. What should we do? Should we be a cosmetic company or should we sell to cosmetic company? I think probably for this type of product, we almost always have to sell or license to cosmetic company because the customers in cosmetic market, they're very brand conscious. I think they tend to focus on the brand rather than the benefit, or especially since all of the brands, have similar products claiming similar benefits. So yeah, I think you're going to want to think carefully here about the business model. What's the best way to bring this product to the market? And also, if it's difficult to protect, how do you actually work with the cosmetic company? Because if let's say you're extracting from certain plants, I guess these plants are available to anybody, because a plant is a plant, so how to protect this, I think, is going to be another really important question. Maybe do you have like a secret formula?
Yes.
Yeah. So you have to keep the formula secret. I think it's very difficult to patent formulas. So usually this type of product will have to protect as a trade secret. But when you keep it secret, it's also hard to license because when you license it, you have to share the secret. So I see some big challenges ahead for the business model, but it sounds very exciting. And then the other thing, the other question I think is you're claiming that it's better. So are you gonna prove that, or you're just gonna claim that? In these. With this type of product, there's usually two approaches when you claim, that you're better. You can either just claim that, or you can try to prove it. So again, different companies take a different approach, and this is also business model. So are we going to try to have some scientific evidence that this is better, or are we just going to hope that people believe that it's better? Both approaches are possible, but that's something that really important to figure out. Okay, so thank you.
Thank you.
And okay, let's see who's going to go next.
Oh, we have some signups. Next is bioorganic, and then diagnostic is next.
Okay, so Louis.
Can I say screen? Yep.
Yeah, please.
Can I say screen Kim?
Yeah.
Oh, anh Vương ơi, anh share quyền share screen cho anh Vương.
Yep.
Anh Vương ơi, anh share quyền share screen cho anh Lượng nha.
Rồi share đi. Share chưa?
Anh đợi xíu, anh để em gọi anh Vương.
Okay. Can you? Is okay now? No.
Please wait for a little bit because our technician is fixing some error. Thank you. But during this time, I think you can have a brief introduction about your company first.
Yeah, I finished already now. Okay. Can you see my screen? Okay. So I'm bioorganic. Our product is biocompost. We divide two parts. The first part is about the service. About the service. The service is making the and cooperation with the cattle or chicken farms. We make the compost. So the innovation here is that we can eliminate the diarrhea microorganism, or we eliminate the bad odor, sting, or fly ash, and we can making a biocompost from organic waste, and which the process is very quick. And about the product, if we making the organic compost, the inside the compost, there are a lot of the beneficial research microorganism, and we also can do the register about the OMPRI is one kind of the organic product to serve for the organic plant. And with our processing is we can make the compost with low price. The second question is about the compost product is very high demand for farmer, grower, or for on plant demand and organic plant. And with the very high competition price, because our price lower than, because we do very quick and with the cheap, we can say processing. And at the moment in the outside market is increase the demand of the organic compost. And that's done. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So wait, so your product is what? It's a bioorganism, microorganism?
The compost. Our product is a compost.
What is your product?
Our product is two parts. The first part is about the service. It means we do the service to do the making compost for a farmer, making compost for big farm. For example, cattle farm, cow farm, or chicken farm. That's the first service. The second product is the microorganism compost.
Okay, so So first of all, yeah, I want to distinguish between service and product.
Yes.
So, yeah. So are you a service or a product?
Yeah, both service and product. I do both too.
Okay. So for investor, we don't want service. We only want product.
Yeah, I think the first step in the strategy, the first step we should do the product first, and then in the long term, when in the market have a lot of thing product, now so we come to do the service.
So
we can divide two steps. Yes.
So usually you want to go the other way, like sell product. It's more profitable than do service. Yes. Almost always, because products can scale, but service doesn't scale. When we do service, okay, for example, let's look at product versus service. Right now, I'm teaching live, so that's a service. So how many students can I teach?
Yeah, the server is not taking.
I can only teach like 30, 50.
About just the subject to the farm, big farm. They
anyway,
have a demand for the.
Anyway, let's think about that. And I think if you really have a product, you may want to focus on the product and not the service part. Let somebody else do the service. You focus on sell the product. But okay, but we can talk about that. And then,
yep.
Second thing, I noticed a couple of people mention like we can sell lower price. You mentioned, and some previous presenter mentioned we can sell lower price. Correct?
Yes.
Sell lower price. Sell lower price is bad. Sell higher price is good. Like sell for lower price. It's good for the customer, but it's bad for the company. So actually, it's not a good idea to sell lower price. You know what sell lower price means for the company? It means we make less money. So when you present we're lower price, so this is like saying you should invest in our company because we're going to make less money. That's not what investors want to hear. They want to hear we're going to make more money, not less money. So it's not good to sell lower price. This is it's not a strategy. You don't want to sell at the lowest possible price. You want to sell at the highest possible price.
How about because at the moment there are a lot of the compost on the market, so we want to occupy some part of the market with the high quality.
Yeah, you want to capture the part of the market where you don't make any money. Why? Why capture that market? You know what I mean? The reason everybody else is selling at a higher price because they can make money. Now you're selling the part of the market where you make no money.
Yeah, usually like that. But how about if we sell the high quantity compared with the
So then you sell more and you lose more money. Like that. I understand what you're saying. Like you want to segment the market, and you feel like there's an underserved segment, which is the market that's willing to pay less. So, but for a new company, this is usually very bad strategy. Like, okay, let's say if I'm one of the existing companies that we already have a lot of customers in high price, maybe we have a second version of the product, low price, because now we can make additional money. But as a new company, or to focus as your first product on the low price is very difficult to succeed. Because one thing is, how do you know that competitors can't sell at the same price? Why do you think yeah, like we don't know that like do you have some sort of cost advantage?
Yes.
What's a cost advantage?
Advantage, what do you mean, the customer?
No, for you. Can you produce at a lower price than the competitors? Is your production cost lower than competitor production costs?
Yes, right. Yes.
Why?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Okay,
Not
so
sure about that.
that's really important. That's the next thing you should look at. Like it can be if your production cost is lower than your competitor production cost, then okay, then maybe you can sell a little lower than them and you still make as much money as them. But if their production cost is the same as yours and you decide to sell at a low price, they can still undercut you on the price. So then you're left.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is very important. And is your product better than existing? Besides being cheaper, is it better?
Yes.
So if it's better, why does it have to be cheaper?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Yeah. So let's say the product is just as good as the competitor or better than competitor product. Then if it's better and you can produce cheaper, actually now you can make more money than competitor if you just sell at the same price. Or maybe what you can do, instead of selling at a cheaper price, you provide more value at the same price. Now, so this is still good for the customer. We get better value for the same price. To sell a better product cheaper, it doesn't make sense, because let's say if the product isn't as good, okay, then maybe we have to sell it cheaper because no option. We sell let's say our product is 40 to 60% worse than the existing product. So now we sell 40 to 60% less because now it's about the same value. You get 40 to 60% less quality, and you pay 40, 60% less. But if you sell 40 to 60% less than the competition, nobody's going to believe that you're better value, that you're better quality. They won't, because they're going to say it's too cheap, can't be better. It must be quality is not as good. Like you look at other product category, like let's say that, for a car, do you think like a car that costs, let's say US dollar car that costs 100,000 and a car that costs 20,000, which is better car?
100,000.
Yeah. And what if I
Maybe.
tell you, what if I tell you my $20,000 car, it's just as good as the $100,000 car?
Yeah.
It's hard to believe. Even if it's true, it's hard to believe. So I think we have to be careful when we have better product. We don't want to focus on selling it cheap, because A, we make less money, and B, customers have a hard time believing now our product is better. So we give away a lot of value.
Yeah. But I want to explain more a little bit about the plant, the demand of the fertilizer demand of the plant, because at the moment they use a chemical plant. So I want to reduce the chemical plant in outside. So it means they need more the compost, apply more compost to the plant. So it means the farmer accept the fair wood price compost. They can change a little bit step by step. A long time they change, they reduce the chemical fertilizer and they increase the compost organic. So that also the strategy to come to the market, I think.
So your production is less expensive.
Expensive? No.
Because you can produce for less because you don't need to add chemicals, right?
Yeah. Because in the future or recent future, they will use only the compost only. They will reduce chemical fertilizer. So we think about that and how to go to the market.
Okay. Anyway, so that's good. I think again, it's business model question. So our pricing strategy is also part of our business model. How do we want to price the product? You know, do we want to price on lower than competitors, or we want to price higher or at the same? So this is also another very important business model question, and you can see how challenging it is. It's not easy. But we're going to learn more about business model from working through these problems. Okay.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. And let's go to next.
Sorry.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, can you guys hear me clearly? Because the connect here is not stable, so I'm worried that you guys can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So hi Jala, hi everyone. I want to talk a little bit about my product. So my name is BUＱI. I'm from Da Nang Biotechnology Center, and our center is focused on mushroom, including the edible and the medicinal mushroom. So recently we just released a new strain of the oyster mushroom. It's very popular in Vietnam. It has the scientific name is Pleurotus species. So the new strain has many different. First of all, it can help farmer can create the higher biological efficiency when they cultivate the mushroom. Secondly, this strain can grow under higher temperatures during the summer. And the oyster mushroom usually can grow between 25 to 28 degrees, but this new strain can grow maybe above 30 degrees. But there's one problem because this new strain, we didn't make any different change in the gene. So it's hard for us to resist a pattern. So so maybe so our product is just selling the strain, I mean like the mushroom strain for the farmer. Thank you.
Okay, great. So I think you know what I'm going to say already. So business model question, very relevant to our topic today. We have a new mushroom, but a new strain of mushroom, but you said it's difficult to, maybe cannot patent, right?
Yeah.
So
because we didn't affect anything in the genetics, so I think it cannot register as a new pattern.
So this means anybody can grow this mushroom strain?
It's created by us, but when we sell to the market, so it means they can grow by everyone.
And you can grow new mushroom from existing mushroom, right? Like once
Yep.
I can just plant the mushroom and then I can grow the same strain, right?
No, you need to make the mating between the monokaryon, it means the spore. So our technique is connect the single spore from the mushroom, and then we make the hybrid between two different spore. But we make up to 200 to 300 different type of mating. So, and then we need to select via different text, and then we release only one new strain of the oyster mushroom. So it means like the farmer they couldn't find the new strain by just grow them frequently. They need some techniques in the lab.
Oh, but let's say once somebody has access to your strain, and then can they just take that strain to the lab and then figure out how you did this strain, and then they can produce themselves?
I think yes.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be very difficult because if I can do that, why would I want to buy from you? If let's say I'm an existing mushroom producer, and let's say if this strain does become popular, why wouldn't I just produce myself? Or meaning, again, it goes back to our discussion last week about the competitive advantage. Like for a food product like this, if there's no proprietary and intellectual property, how to protect it or how to compete.
You know, like the oyster, I mean, like one mushroom that can release 100 million spores. So it's very difficult to, I mean, it's very easy to create a new strain, but the important is how the effective of this strain. So I know maybe the other farmer or maybe the other institute, they can create the new strain by themselves well, but the difference is, I mean, like the efficiencies of the new strain. So we have proved that the quality is better than other, and then they can grow under the higher temperature. So that's our different technique compared to other center.
Oh yeah, no, I understand that it's difficult to develop the new strain from scratch. My concern is, can they copy your strain?
If I sell to others, so absolutely they can just take it and grow it.
Yeah.
So I think our project, like we try to sell the new strain with higher price compared to other recent strain they used recently. I think it's not really the big market, but
yeah. I mean, it sounds like it's a really good idea because it's a better mushroom, and it does, I guess, like you said, higher biological efficiency and can grow in higher temperature. But it may be very hard to build a business around this because it's too easy to copy. That goes back to our competitive advantage discussion last week. So I think that the thing to think about here is, is there some business model that could be built around this product? Is there something else you could do to make it more proprietary? Or, maybe, the other option is it might be possible to create a, new mushroom brand, but that I'm also not so optimistic about that because I'm not sure that people pay much attention to mushroom branding. I think we probably just, when we go to the store, I don't even know what's the brand of the mushrooms I buy. If I had to, name a mushroom brand, I don't even think I could. So I think this sounds like it's an interesting innovation, but we're going to have to think hard about, is it really possible to build a business around this? Maybe you could build some sort of business creating new mushroom strains for mushroom companies, more like a service. It won't be that profitable in the long run, but maybe that would be one way to get started. Maybe mushroom companies are always looking for new strains and it's not that easy for them to do it. So you could do some sort of contract research, or you could become like a new product development arm for companies that are selling mushrooms. So that might be another thing to think about. I think selling this as a product sounds like it has some serious challenge, but there might be some way to to monetize the ability that you have to create new strains like this?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Instead of just focus on one type of mushroom, we should focus, because our center is a research center, so they focus more on doing the research and figure out the new strains. So maybe we should try to keep improving a different type of mushroom, maybe like the medicinal one, not just the oyster one. So I think that's a good idea rather than just selling the product.
Yeah, I would think about that. And then also think about, is it possible to create, proprietary mushrooms using some sort of genetic modification, because at least then, I mean, some people might not like it because it's GMO, but it might give you some advantage because it's not something that anybody can just grow.
Yeah. Okay.
And actually, don't mushrooms have to grow in compost?
I'm sorry?
Don't we usually grow
compost?
Mushrooms usually grow in compost, right? So maybe you can partner with the bioorganic doing the compost.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah, there's some like the strong mushroom that can grow on the compost, but the Lindsay one, the medicinal one, the cordyceps militaris is very popular now. They not growing on the compost. I think only the straw and the oyster that can grow by reusing the compost.
Oh, okay. All right.
The cordyceps. Okay.
Yeah, maybe you two can talk about that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next.
Are there? Next is diagnostic. Can you hear me?
Can hear, but you should speak louder. And
Hello, can you hear me?
yeah, it's better. Okay.
Good. Okay, so I just talked about.
Mở to micro lên.
Yeah, I did that. Can you hear me clearly?
Yeah. Okay.
Hello? Okay. So our products include two parts. One is a service R&D consultants in the field of diagnostic activity. And the second thing is, we try to develop the molecular kit for rabbit and to use on inclusive molecular kit that permit to detect in a reliable and sensitivity way different pathogens on crop, animal, and even on aquaculture. So the customer, we focus mainly on the company in the field of agriculture and quarantine company or quarantine center from the government, the farmer, and the university or institutes or the hospital, for example. So now we already developed some demo kits for phytopathogenic fungi and bacteria on crop, and some pathogen, microbial pathogen in the foodborne disease. Regarding the band food problem, so yeah, sometimes we also have we need at the time to evaluate the kit before delivering, before commercialization, and some requirement that from the customer need to have the time to develop. For example, in the future, so we try to integrate our kit to the portable device. For example, like lateral flow technique, or we can use a microfluidic biochip that we need to have the collaboration with another company, another partner to develop. But the key products from outside is to develop the PCR and LAM method that allow us to detect the microbial pathogen within 30 minutes in field. Not necessary to do in the laboratory, but we provide both PCR and LAM. Thank you so much for your attention.
Oh, you're on mute.
I had some issues with the volume in that presentation, so I couldn't quite understand some of the stuff that you were saying. So I think maybe I can quickly summarize, like you're doing, I think you're doing a product and a service. Is it right?
That's true. That's true.
Maybe type in the chat. Yeah, how about just maybe type a quick summary in the chat, because I'm having trouble with your audio. Yeah, yes, okay. Okay,
yeah,
Bob.
Service and kit, yeah.
Okay, so same comment I had previously. So investors much prefer pure product, not product service. But okay, let's break it down. So just can you summarize in the chat what's the product? Molecular kits for rapid detection of microbial pathogens. So, so it's so you're producing a test kit.
Exactly, yes.
So if you're producing a test kit, then so how is it different from other test kits? What's the main difference between this and other test kits that are testing for microbial pathogens?
Recording in progress.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Anh mute rồi anh tắt tiếng rồi.
Okay, can you hear me?
Anh tắt tiếng một bên anh. Anh tắt tiếng một bên anh, tại vì anh đang chơi hai cái.
Okay. Now it's better, right? It's better,
yeah.
Right? Okay, sorry. I must quit that the Zoom from
progress.
I must quit that the Zoom from computer to use the mobile phone. For the question, can you hear me right?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, I'm so sorry about this one. Okay, so yeah, I must repeat again. So we developed like our product have a two part. The first part is the service and R&D consultant in the field diagnostics activity. And but it's not important. The most important is we try to develop the kit for rapid and to use on an easy to use on inclusive molecular kits that permit to detect a reliable and sensitive way with the different pathogens on crop, animal, and aquaculture. Regarding your question, what is the difference of our kit to another kit? You know, in Vietnam, market now, not so much, and I don't mean that not so much, but mainly they use the kit they use the real-time PCR kit to detect some micropathogen, but mainly not so. You know that the market is so huge. So, but you know that when they use the real-time method, so they need to have the big investment for the equipment. We need to have the expensive equipment to do that. So the alternative strategy from outside is to develop that the rapid in-field detection approach. So we use a loop mediated isothermal amplification called a LAM that allow us to detect within 30 minutes in field or on site. So no need to bring the sample to the laboratory or something like that. So we focus about that one. And now, so we focus about mainly in the phytopathogenic fungi and bacteria and viruses on crop and foodborne disease. Means some micropathogen cause the effect to the human health.
So the main difference is it's portable kit rather than and they can do at point of care. They don't have to bring the sample to the lab.
Yes, mainly. We can use in the field. We can use it on site or in the field. Yeah.
But there are other test kits that could be used in the field today, right? I mean, are you saying?
Yeah, I understand the question. You know, in the global, they already developed, like some company already developed that kit in global, but in Vietnam, not so much. We found not so much the product in Vietnam, so we try to develop that for the Vietnamese market and compare with that another product from another company. So we try to do that.
So there is like competition internationally, but right now they're not available in Vietnam.
Exactly. Yes.
But they're not available. Yeah. Why are the international products not available in Vietnam?
Yeah, I in the field of economics, so I don't I try to understand about that one, but as my understanding, so they just focus mainly in one approach, like real time, and the second thing is like that maybe the cost, something like this. I think so, the cost, but I think that the cost for alarm can competitive with another method. We believe that because we did and we know, or maybe that the needs of the customer or the habits of the user, something like this. So we need to change. We try to change the habits. Of course,
I can add more information about that because I'm a user for that. So I think not available in Vietnam because there are some disease and they are not in the world, just in Vietnam. And because in Vietnam it's agriculture development, so there are not of disease on the crop, on the animal. It's not available in the world. So the mission here of Mr. Quốc is maybe develop the new disease, the kit for the new disease in Vietnam and in the ASEAN country as well, I think.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons. I think so. Thank you.
So the reason is that these test kits are targeting local diseases that are only prevalent in either Vietnam or Southeast Asia, and the international companies don't focus on that market because it's too small.
Yeah, we can do with them, but yeah, that's one reason. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, so that can be a good strategy, but it's because you could then capture the first market, but it's got some double-edged sword because if the market, for example, if this disease is if it's only in Vietnam, then the market is going to be small because only 90 million people for the whole world. You know what I mean?
I got it.
So it might be one thing to think about with a strategy like that is, we start by focusing on a local disease, but future products address, maybe regional disease, and then maybe global disease. So I think you can build up from the first market, enter the niche market in the Vietnam specific disease, but in the long run, that's probably not a big enough market to grow your company. So you might want to think about how do we scale from there?
You mean at the scale from global scale, right?
Yeah. What are we going to do after that? Let's say even if we capture this whole market, it's probably relatively small because it's only one country in the whole world.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, so yeah, the first step. So after we did that for the Vietnamese market. So we think to develop the global through that the collaboration with some partner. That's we understand. So which pathogen is important for export import in the globally, and then so we will develop the protocol. I mean that the method for that pathogen, and then so so in the future, so we try to integrate the kit to the portable device. For example, that's the one way, and we can transfer that the technique to international partner that they can integrate our protocol into the device. For example, we focus about lateral flow device or the microfluid biochip or something like this. So after Vietnam, so we think that we focus mainly in the regional market, like in Southeast Asia. But the more important thing is we must understand which important pathogens they need. So we focus about that one.
Okay, that sounds good. We're gonna have to make that the last presentation for the first half of the class. We'll take a short break now. We'll take like a 10-minute break till now it's 10:08. So we'll come back at, let's say 10:20, and at that point, I'm gonna introduce some additional content, focus on business model. So let's have a big round of applause for everybody that presented. Now, if you didn't get a chance to present this class, you'll do your presentation in the next class. So don't worry that you're gonna get left out. So everybody will have a chance to present, just like the people that went today. Okay, so we'll take a short break now, and I'll see you back here at 10:20 your time, and I'm going to introduce additional content on business model. Okay, see you in a few minutes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kim ơi.
Dạ em nghe chị.
Mình sẽ chút xíu nữa mình sẽ vô và trình bày, hay là vô tới học cái business model luôn.
Dạ chắc là qua phần khác á chị.
Cái phần thật ra thì cái sản phẩm của mình nó cũng không phải là một cái sản phẩm mua bán trên thị trường. Cái mình ở tại trường đại học thì hoạt động của mình là tại cái trung tâm đổi mới sáng tạo. Phải trao đổi với anh, trao đổi với Kim nha. Ở cái trung tâm đổi mới sáng tạo và ươm tạo khởi nghiệp, nó giống như một cái TTO vậy đó. Thành ra mình cái sản phẩm của mình thì là các cái chương trình đào tạo, rồi các cái chương trình mentor, rồi các chương trình incubating, rồi kết nối với lại các cái quỹ đầu tư, các cái doanh nghiệp để hỗ trợ cho các cái giảng viên, các nhà nghiên cứu với lại các sinh viên làm các cái dự án về khởi nghiệp. Mình đang hướng tới cái spin-off, cho nên mới đi học lớp này. Cho nên nếu mình nói về những cái tính đổi mới sáng tạo trong sản phẩm của mình, thì mình cũng thường xuyên cập nhật những cái phương pháp giảng dạy để giúp cho người học nâng lên được cái tinh thần gọi là tinh thần doanh nhân cho các sinh viên của mình á, nâng lên tinh thần doanh nhân, rồi các cái ý tưởng khởi nghiệp sáng tạo, rồi để qua đó để giúp cho các bạn lập những cái dự án, để khuyến khích các bạn là có những cái ý tưởng sáng tạo hay là các dự án khởi nghiệp, rồi mình tổ chức các sự kiện thi cử ở tại trường, rồi cọ sát với các dự án ở ngoài trường ở cả nước. Vừa qua thì ở trường mình cũng có các dự án đạt cái quán quân của khởi nghiệp quốc gia, rồi cũng đi vô cái khởi nghiệp toàn cầu, nhưng sau đó thì cũng dừng lại. Thành ra nếu mà nói vậy thì để giải quyết cái nỗi đau của xã hội thì chắc là cũng cung cấp kiến thức, kỹ năng, thái độ cho các bạn khởi nghiệp, nhưng mà mình đang quan tâm nhất là cái vấn đề là chuyển giao công nghệ, cũng như là giúp cho các thầy cô, các cái nhóm ý tưởng mà sau khi nó đã có gặt hái được một số kết quả và có trải nghiệm rồi đó, thì kết nối lại với các doanh nghiệp để cái fundraising á, và tiến tới là thành lập cái spin-off. Kim có lời khuyên gì trong cái sản phẩm của trường Nguyễn Tất Thành không Kim ơi?
Dạ em nghĩ là em hiểu hết chị.
Rồi, cảm ơn em nhé.
Dạ ok chị. Mình sẽ quay lại lúc 10:20 chị, mình break
Ok,
một xíu.
cảm ơn em.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. I hope you had a good break. Now I want to talk a little bit more in depth about business models. I'm going to introduce a couple of new business model concepts, some of which we might have touched on during the presentation, other which will be new. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. So I'll talk first about business model innovation. We discussed a little bit about innovation experienced a little bit about innovation in today's exercise. So you notice the first question that I asked you to explain is what's innovative about your product? And this is the foundation of a successful scalable business plan is innovation. And if you're not an innovator, you're an imitator. And if you're an imitator, then very difficult to get investment and very difficult to scale your business. The vast majority of successful startups are innovators. And I think we're lucky in this group, and you can see from the presentations that we listened to so far, each of the teams has either already or has the potential to have an innovative product. And that's no small accomplishment, because a lot of the startups that we work with don't have that benefit. They're trying to come up with an innovative product. So the great thing about being a intellectual property driven or research or university driven startup is you will almost by vast majority of the time, you will be starting your company based on some sort of new knowledge, which can form the basis of an innovation. The reason I qualify new knowledge and innovation, new knowledge is not necessarily innovation. All innovations will include new knowledge, but all new knowledge is not necessarily an innovation, because why? What makes innovation different from new knowledge? New knowledge becomes an innovation when it can be applied to solving a customer problem. And that's why, or a customer pain. And that's why my second question about your company or your product or your business idea was, what is the painful customer problem that you're solving? Another way to think about it is new knowledge, in order to be an innovation, must be useful. It must be new knowledge that can be applied. And typically for innovation, we're envisioning applying it in a specific way, which is applying it to solve customer problems or to address customer needs. So product innovation, I think everybody is fairly comfortable with, familiar with, and can explain and understand pretty straightforwardly. But there are many other forms of innovation that drive successful startup companies. And the most common one and the most important one is business model innovation. So business model means, how does this company make money? When we think about a business model, It's comprised of several components. The key two components are the revenue model and the cost drivers. So when we try to understand a company's business model, or when we try to formulate a new business model for our business, we need to think about those two factors. And usually we focus mostly on the first, at least in terms of understanding the innovation. So how will the company generate revenue? There is in revenue model, which is the key first component and oftentimes most important component in understanding the innovative part of the business model. We want to, that we have tremendous scope for different approaches. And if you look at some of the most successful startups in the last 10 years, even last 10 to 20 years, many are based almost exclusively on business model innovation or innovative business models. So let's explore innovative business models and see how they can be used to drive the success of startup companies. Now, I want to look at a sort of brief case study here that compares business model innovation to product innovation. So the two most important types of innovation for startups are business model and product innovation. And let's look at which is more powerful and how do they compare to one another. So the two devices that I'm showing on the screen here are both early entrants into the portable digital music player market. And the one on my left is Diamond Rio, which if you go back to our previous class, Diamond Rio was one of the first movers in portable digital music market. So we know how that goes. You know, where is Diamond Rio now? Who's using Diamond Rio now? Today, nobody. Where is Diamond Rio now? They're in first mover graveyard. Why? Because they were first mover. So they were a first mover without the ability to create barriers to entry, or without the ability to create sufficient barriers to entry for followers. The product on my right is everybody knows. This is an Apple iPod, and everybody knows Apple iPod because why? Because Apple iPod was the last mover in the early and even subsequent growth phase of the digital portable music player market. So Apple captured the last mover position and totally destroyed Diamond Rio. Now, how did they do that? Did they do that because their product was better, or did they do that because their business model was better? So basically, in this case, we can argue that Diamond Rio was the innovative product. And Apple iPod definitely included some product innovation. So, but it wasn't a disruptive product innovation. The Diamond Rio was a disruptive product innovation. It was the first commercially successful digital music player in this size, this form factor. So definitely disruptive product innovation. The product innovation on the Apple side was more incremental innovation. So the display, you can see the display screen is much bigger and more clear. And also the fundamental innovation, I think product innovation in the iPod was the navigation system. So if you look at the wheel, the navigation wheel with the buttons and connected to the menu items that we see were vastly superior to the control system on the Diamond Rio. If you look at the control system with the Diamond Rio, it's like got 5 buttons, and it has a central click controller with 4 different segments. It's almost impossible to figure out how to use. And the Apple navigation button, the navigation wheel was much easier. But I don't think that was the reason that Apple was so successful with this product. What was it? It was their business model innovation. So what was their business model innovation? Diamond moved first into the market for portable music players in 1998. Apple entered the market they originally entered in 2001, but in 2003, they introduced their innovative, and I would say disruptively innovative business model. So what was their disruptively innovative business model? It was the introduction of App Store, of iTunes. iTunes with iPod. So basically, if you think about what was Diamond selling? Diamond was selling hardware. So Diamond's business model was we sell hardware. And that was revenue model was for each unit of hardware they sold, they got paid a certain amount. So that's a very straightforward business model. We're a hardware company, and it's a very straightforward revenue model. We sell 1 unit of hardware to each customer, and we get paid on a per unit basis. And in fact, they were probably selling through distributors and retail stores. So they were actually selling to distributors, wholesalers, who then sold to retailers, and they made the wholesale price. So that was the Diamond revenue model. But what was Apple's business model? Apple's no longer selling just hardware. Apple is selling hardware plus software plus service. And the software is the iTunes software, and the service is the music that you can download to your iPod from iTunes. And this was a hugely successful business model. Now, so Apple had I would say they had the marginally better technology, but they had the hugely better disruptive business model. Now, Apple gets paid for each piece of hardware, and they get paid for every piece of music that customers buy on iTunes. So they have multiple revenue streams, not one revenue stream. Multiple revenue streams are generally preferable to one revenue stream. And they go from a single unit price-based revenue model where the company just sells hardware one time to recurring revenue. And recurring revenue is much better for a company than one-time revenue. Why? So let's say I'm Diamond. If I'm Diamond and I sell you an MP3 player and you pay me, when am I going to get more money from you? Maybe never. Maybe if I launch a new version, you might buy another MP3 player from me. But it costs me something. It costs me a certain amount of money to acquire you as a customer. Then I make one sale to you, and then you go away forever. And then I have to acquire a new customer. So the customer acquisition cost is typically one of the largest costs for any company. And if we're only going to sell new customers one product, this means we're going to have to constantly generate new customers. And therefore, the difference between our customer acquisition cost and our customer lifetime value is going to be much less than if we can acquire a customer and then sell them multiple products. And that's exactly what Apple accomplished with the combination of hardware, software, and service. You buy the iPod from me, and then I sell you music forever. And therefore, that customer, which I probably acquired at about the same cost as Diamond, I'm going to make a lot more money from over the lifetime of my relationship with that customer because they're going to buy music from the iTunes store. Apple also introduced several competitive advantages into this strategy. We talked business, like several strategies that create customer lock-in. So how did they do that? If you remember, if you notice, and from then until now, Apple files are always in a different format than other files. Like Diamond was selling MP3 player. Apple iPod would play MP3 players, but would play MP3 music. But MP3 is not the native file format for iPod. Apple has their own file format. So when you downloaded music from iTunes, it didn't come in MP3. It came in Apple format and AAC or one of these Apple file formats. And then you could easily convert your MP3 files to play on the iPod, but you could not easily convert Apple file format to MP3 format. So this creates customer lock-in, and Apple still uses that strategy until today. If you, even when you download movies from Apple, they don't come in a normal file format. They come in Apple file format, which makes it much difficult to export them. So this is a very smart customer lock-in strategy that's also part of the business model. So now, when Apple entered the market, companies like Diamond and all the other MP3 companies, MP3 player companies, they were all competing to produce smaller, lighter, less expensive MP3 players. So Apple entered the market with an iPod, and they produced a bigger, heavier, more expensive music player. And they captured 90% of the market by selling a much more expensive product and with a recurring revenue model. So this is one of the most obvious examples of how business model innovation totally transforms the company. You go from being a hardware company who is engaged in a competitive race to the bottom by trying to produce smaller, lighter, cheaper hardware, which means ultimately you're going to make no money, to selling large, heavy, expensive hardware along with a recurring revenue model. And at the same time that they did that, they had more satisfied customers. People love their iPod more than anybody ever loved their Diamond Rio, even though they had to pay much more for it, and even though they had to continuously pay to download music. So this is a great example of an innovative business model and disruptively innovative business model, creating a hugely successful product and company. Because remember, iPod was a turning point for Apple. Before iPod, Apple was pretty much a failing PC company, and Apple had seen their market share, their revenue, and their profits, and their stock price dropping for 10 years before iPod. So iPod was the product that turned Apple around and transformed Apple from a failed computer company into one of the most profitable consumer product companies in the world. And they did that mainly with disruptive business model. So I think we can take a couple of very important lessons from this story. Think about product innovation is important, but business model innovation and especially revenue model innovation can be as or much more important in the long-term success of our company than just product innovation. So let's look at a couple of other examples of disruptive business model innovation that has created some of the most successful companies in the world and some of the most successful products in the world. My first one that I want to talk about is Gillette. So you probably, I'm sure everybody knows Gillette. Gillette produces razors. They produce razors, razor handles, and blades. So this is, I think, a great example of product and business model innovation working together. Let's delve a little more deeply into the Gillette story. In our class, like how many people use Gillette razors? I think maybe everybody. I mean, there's effectively like only 2 razor companies in the whole world. So I think almost everybody is using one of them. And I think most people are using Gillette. Okay, so let's take a look at the evolution of the razor business model. So people have been shaving for many, many years. I think if we go into the archaeological record, we can find razors from thousands and thousands of years ago. And razors from thousands of years ago, they don't look that different from a razor from 100 years ago. This is an example of a razor from about 100 years ago. Maybe your grandfather or your great-grandfather used a razor like this. And what's the product? So the product is, we call this a straight razor or straight edge razor. So how would we describe the product? So it has 2 parts. It has a handle and it has a blade. And typically it's folding so that the blade folds into the handle when you're not using it. And when you want to shave, you open up the handle, you take the blade, you push the blade back, it comes out of the handle, and then you shave yourself. So what's interesting for us about the product design is there are 2 parts, the handle and the blade, but they're permanently attached. And the blade is sharp on one side. So the blade has one sharp edge and one dull edge. It is designed to be reused. So in addition to when you bought the razor like this, in addition to getting the razor, you would get a strap that you would use to sharpen it, maybe a leather strap. One day those will be plant-based if we're still using these type of razors. But what was the revenue model for people that sold this type of product? So if you are, I think this is sold by a company called Fromm. So Fromm sells this product and you get a razor. So this is unit-based sale. It's hardware, basically selling you hardware 1 unit at a time. Now, if you get a good razor, let's say you get a quality razor like this, a quality straight razor like this, and you remembering that you can resharpen the blade, like how long can you use this product for? I bet you can use this product for many years. I don't know, probably most of us don't have a razor like this, but I bet a lot of us have some kitchen knives at home. In the kitchen, we have a nice set of kitchen knives and they're stored in a wooden block and we can resharpen those kitchen knives. So how long do those knives last? if you buy a good set of knives, you know, they can last you 20, 30 years. Razor, I think, is very similar. You could buy this razor and use it for maybe, you know, half your lifetime, unless it breaks. So is that good for you? Maybe it's good for you. But is it good for the company that sells this razor? No. Because why? Now they sold you one product your entire life, one unit. And if they can sell you a second unit 20 years from now, they're lucky. So this is a one-time sale. And it's even, you know, it's worse than a lot of one-time sale products, because it not only is it a one-time sale, but it lasts effectively forever. So you sell product one time to a customer, and then they leave and you never see them again. Okay, so what were the problems with this product from the customer perspective? What's the main problem with this product from a customer perspective? What do you think it might be? I mean, they're very sharp. They're very sharp. And when you use a sharp blade like this, you know, what can happen? It's not that difficult to cut yourself. So a lot of, and especially if you use this for shaving, you know, your face, you can very easily cut your face, and maybe, you know, not that difficult either to cut your fingers when you're opening or shutting it or moving it around. So I would say the main drawback of this product from the customer perspective was it's a little dangerous. From a value perspective, it's a very good value. Okay, so this is the next generation of the razor product. And more importantly, this is the revolutionary business model that Gillette introduced to the razor market. So we can, if we think about now, what's the difference? What's the most important difference between the Gillette model and the original razor model? Let's look at the difference in the product. What is the most important difference in the product design? The most important difference in the product design is that the handle and the blade are no longer attached permanently. The handle and the blade become two separate products. And this is a tremendous innovation in business model, especially revenue model. And it is a form of innovation, innovative business model that's been copied by many other products after this, which we'll talk about in a minute. But let's look first at the fundamental business model. So instead of selling you this, where we see the handle and the blade are permanently attached, now I sell you this, handle and blade. And this is a picture that I took in Thailand right before COVID in a pharmacy. So you can see the Gillette Fusion Pro Shield 5, and this is not even the top of the line Gillette Fusion 5 because it doesn't have power. This is the manual one, but you can see that it's selling here for 489 baht. So this is about 500 baht, which is about 20 US dollars. So about $20 to buy this product. Say around 500 baht. Okay, now, if you look closely at the bottom here, you can see what you get in the package. You get the handle and you get two blades. And most guys, I think, depending on how thick is their beard, the one blade maybe lasts 1 month or 2 months. I mean, they suggest one blade lasts 1 month. So two blades should give you 2 months of shaves. Now, okay, now, and interestingly, you know, when they first introduced these products, you used to get 5 blades, now then 4, then 3, then 2, and some razors they even sell with 1 blade now, but okay. So 2 blades, 2 months. Now, what happens when we finish those 2 blades? Now, important to note, not only are these blades separate from the handle. So what they've done they made 2 important product innovations. They separate the blade from the handle, and they make the blade disposable. You cannot resharpen this blade. It's not possible to resharpen it like we could with the straight edge razor. So we have to throw it out when it becomes dull. And that means it's been turned into what's called a consumable. So now this product has 2 components, handle and blade, and the blades are consumables. So what does that mean? That means 2 months from now, we have to go back to the store and we need to buy 2 more blades. And how much does that cost? It costs more than we spent on the handle. And then 2 months later, we have to do what? We have to buy another 2 blades and another 2 blades. So think about, we're gonna have to make 6 purchases of blades over the next 12 months. So we spent 500 baht one time, and over the next year, we're gonna spend 6 times that. We're gonna spend 3,000 baht. So instead of selling me just a 500 baht razor, they actually sold me 3,500 baht worth of razor and blade. And next year we have to do the same thing. We buy 6 more packages of blades. And next year, and then what happens next 2 years later? 2 years later, they're going to introduce the Fusion Pro Shield 6. And what's going to be different about the Fusion Pro Shield 6? It's going to require a different blade. The attachment between handle and blade will have changed. And there will be, you can see here's the Mach 3. Mach 3 was before the Fusion 5. And actually there was even I think there was a Mach 4 or Fusion 4 in between. So do you think these Mach 3 blades fit into the Fusion 5? No, and vice versa. So when they introduce Generation 6, I'm gonna have to start buying all new blades. If I had any blades left over, then I'm gonna have to throw them out and go to the new blades. So this is a tremendous innovation in this market, because why? Now I can sell, actually, not only do I make 2 types of sales, but I don't have to make any money on the handle. In fact, I can sell you this handle at cost, or I can even lose money on the handle. Because why? I make 6 times the revenue on the blades in the first year than I ever made on the handle. I could actually give you the handle for free if I wanted to. And in fact, that's sort of what's happening here, right? Because you're getting 2 blades in this package. When you go to buy 2 blades later, it costs the same thing as the handle plus the 2 blades. So basically they're pricing the handle in such a way that all you're doing is basically you just buy 2 blades from them and you get the handle for free. But once you buy this handle, you're going to continue to buy blades from me. And Gillette spends a lot of time and money, the intellectual property in this product, the attachment between the blade and the handle and the way that the blades attach are covered by many patents. In the Fusion 5, in the Fusion shaving series, Gillette has something like 70 patents just on different aspects of the Fusion shaving series. And you do see some knockoff blades. Like you can actually see in the picture here, some knockoff blades, but that's mostly in Thailand. I don't see generally elsewhere because the shelf space for these razors is heavily contested. When the retailer sells a package of these 500 baht blades, see how small that product is. it takes up very little room, and the margin that they make on it is huge. So there's very little incentive for the retailer to stock lower margin knockoff blades. So if you think about how effective this business model strategy is, because we now have customer lock-in, we have recurring revenue, and we dramatically improve our customer acquisition costs to customer lifetime value relationship, because each customer is buying blades from us forever. From the customer perspective, you know, how did Gillette originally sell customers on this concept? Was this type of, when Gillette started to market this razor and blade combination, they called this razor a safety razor. So basically they promoted that, they sold to customers that this type of blade, because it's, you don't have to handle it in the same way that you handled the straight edge blade. It's safer than the original product. But bottom line is they converted one-time revenue to recurring revenue. And now you can see many other companies and industry have moved in a similar direction. For example, inkjet printer. If you look at the inkjet printer revenue model, it's almost identical to the Gillette revenue model. What's the inkjet printer revenue model? We go in, we buy inkjet printer. They have incredible functionality. You know, for a few $100s, you can buy these like I have in my home office, you know, multi-function fax laser printer, fax inkjet printer and copier, and with you know, 2 paper trays, and does every size paper. And I think I paid like $300 or $400 for it. But it has 4 ink cartridges, and these ink cartridges run out very fast. And when I go to change the ink cartridges, so I think I paid $400 Sing dollars for the printer. I think every time I change the ink cartridge, it's at least all 4 ink cartridges, it's like $100 to $150. And again, that's going to happen every 3 or 4 months, maybe 6 months. So pretty much every year that I use the printer, I'm paying again, or the price of the printer or more in ink. Very almost the exact same revenue model innovation that Gillette pioneered with the razor and blade. So this is a very this model is also used in biotech. If you're selling, for example, some test kit with consumables, then you can sell the kit, or a medical device that has consumables. So we sell the device, and then we sell consumables to create long-term revenue streams. So I think everybody wants to think about that. How do we move away from one-time sales to recurring sales? And if we can create a recurring revenue model for our product, it's much better than a one-time revenue model. And you can see that innovation doesn't stop. Business model innovation never ends. So this company, Dollar Shave Club, is one of the startups or more recent companies that has further innovated on the razor and blade revenue model to create subscription. So in the Gillette model, the customer only goes back to the store to buy more blades every couple of months, because each package of blades comes with at least 2 months, and maybe I usually buy 5. I usually buy the 5 blade pack, which means I'm only buying every 5 months. So Dollar Shave Club says, we're going to send you a new razor and blade every month. And that's the subscription model. So, and they innovate on top of Gillette, and they look at also maybe weaknesses in the Gillette model. Like maybe I want to get a brand new razor every month because I'm interested in exploring different razor types. And they also then can send, when you do these subscription shave clubs, they usually send not just the handle and the blade, but some sort of shaving accessories like the shave cream that we have here. So subscription models benefit from the same business model innovation that we talked about earlier, which is recurring revenue rather than one-time revenue. But they're even better in some ways than consumables because they create customer lock-in themselves. You notice when you buy subscription, usually you have an option to subscribe monthly or annually, and the annual subscription works out to be much less expensive on a per month basis. So you're encouraged to sign up for longer subscription. And why is that good? Because once I have a 1-year subscription to Dollar Shave Club, even if another subscription service comes along with the better, more attractive subscription offer, I definitely have some incentive not to take it up. Because why? Because I already paid for my 1-year subscription. And you notice also that 1 year, even if I buy monthly subscriptions, oftentimes they renew automatically unless canceled. And same thing with the annual subscriptions, also they renew automatically unless canceled. So this subscription model, it's another very profitable and very highly favored revenue model innovation over the last 5 to 10 years. And now I want to look at one more business model innovation, which I think also is incredibly exciting and as disruptive as the one-time revenue versus recurring revenue model that we looked at in the case of razors and inkjet printers. So this is a picture that I took in Starbucks, also in Bangkok pre-COVID. And this is a picture of the Starbucks menu. And you can see I have highlighted 2 products in Starbucks. One product is the tall, freshly brewed coffee. And you can see that that product is being sold for $1.10, for 110 baht, which is equal to about $4 US. About $3 US. And then you can see here, this product, matcha white chocolate affogato Vante, is selling for 200 Thai baht, which is about $6.50. So, or almost $7. So what's interesting about these 2 prices is that you can see this price, 200, is almost double this price, 110. This is a very interesting revenue model innovation that's called discrimination pricing. And this is actually at the root of a whole new generation of pricing models, which are transforming many sectors, many businesses in many sectors. Because why? So let's think about the business problem that we face in pricing our product. So how should we price our product? I think everybody knows my feeling we shouldn't price our product cheap, and that I'm going to talk about that more now. But how do we figure out the price of our product? The traditional methods that companies use to figure out the price of the product, they're all wrong. Or if they're not wrong, they're all I mean, I would say they're all wrong. Best case, they're wrong. Worst case is they're wrong. Best case is they're suboptimal. Meaning what? The way that companies have priced their products in the past are much worse than what they could have been doing, meaning they're losing a lot of money. So why? What is the challenge that we face when pricing our product? We face, and this is true for any product, we face two, especially when we think about traditional pricing methods. So, and when I say traditional pricing methods, I mean pricing on a cost plus basis, pricing on a basis of how the competitors are pricing, pricing on, sort of how much money we want to make basis, all of which are the wrong way to price our products. But what is the problem that we face when we're pricing our product? Traditionally, we face this problem. Whatever price we set for our product is going to be suboptimal. Because why? Let's say I'm a coffee shop and I'm trying to figure out, should I sell my coffee for 100 baht or 200 baht per cup? Now, the problem is, I don't know how much are my customers willing to pay. So let's say I have two types of customers. I have customers who are very cost conscious. And then let's say I have the budget customer and premium customer. So the budget customer has a very limited willingness to pay. The premium customer is willing to pay a lot. So when I set my price, I have to worry that if I set my price too high, the budget customer won't buy. So I need to set my price low enough. So I believe that I need to set my price low enough so that budget customers will buy. But if I set my price too low, then I give up a lot of money because my premium customers were willing to pay more. So for example, let's say traditional pricing model. I would maybe if I thought the low end price was 100 and the high end price was 200, maybe I would sell my coffee at 150. And I hope that the budget customer is willing to pay a little more, but I'm not going to capture all. Like some budget customers are going to walk in, they're going to see 150 and they might say, okay, yeah, it's a little expensive, but it's not too expensive, so I'll still buy it. But some budget customers are going to walk in, see 150, walk out and not buy. So I lost sales. But that's not all, because let's say half of my customers were willing to pay 200. I lost 50 baht on every one of those sales because they all think 150 is super cheap and they were willing to pay 200. So I lose budget customers and I lose money from premium customers. And what is causing that problem? What's causing that problem is in a traditional pricing approach, I have a one size fits all price. And therefore I'm always gonna be suboptimal. But what has Starbucks done here? Starbucks has eliminated one size fits all pricing. They have a whole range of prices. You can see actually their prices from 110 all the way up to 200, but they also have every price tier in between. Almost every possible price in between, you could buy coffee. So you can buy at 110, you can buy at 115, you can buy at 130, you can buy at 135, you can buy at 140, you can buy at 145. So they have a coffee for every single price that a customer may be willing to pay in between 100 and 200. Now, what's the difference? What's the difference between those products? What's the difference between freshly brewed coffee and matcha white chocolate affogato? There's no difference. It's the same product. what they're doing here is, you look at this menu, the left side of this menu, they're selling what, something like, looks like 3 times 8. They're selling 50 versions of the exact same product at all different prices. When I say it's the same product, I mean, it's basically what? It's all just coffee. I mean, basically all coffee. So what is coffee? Coffee is just water. With the main ingredient in coffee is what? Water. So it's a cup of water, hot water, and it's dissolved with some coffee beans dissolved in it. So it's a solution basically of water with some bean or coffee powder dissolved in it. So what is the cost difference to Starbucks between producing their freshly brewed coffee and their matcha white chocolate affogato? Costs almost the same. How much does it cost? You know, if the product they're selling for 110 baht, it probably costs them, I would say, 5 baht to produce. And for the frappuccino, it probably costs 10 baht. So they're making a huge margin on every sale, and they're not losing anybody. Because for me, I always go in and I buy the grande freshly brewed coffee because I want more. So I spend 125. When Kim goes in, he always buys the matcha white chocolate affogato, you know, for 200. Just example. And then we're both happy. And actually, it's genius, because why? You imagine you can have 2 customers in the exact same store at the exact same time, buying the exact same product, just dressed up to look a little different. And one customer is paying 100 and one customer is paying 200. So the customer that's paying 100 is paying 50%, and the customer that's paying 200 is paying 100% more. But they both are happy. They're both getting exactly the product they want in the exact same time, and they're happily paying you twice as much or half as much as another customer. How did they do that? So what they're doing is, how are they pricing the product? They're not pricing the product based on their production cost. They're not pricing the product based on the competitor pricing. They're not pricing the product based on any traditional pricing approach. They're pricing the product based on their customer segmentation and the value proposition that they provide for those customers. So for example, there are 2 customer segments that we've talked about so far. Freshly brewed coffee is for the customer segment that I just want coffee. I just want a cup of coffee, and I want it at the lowest possible price. That's the freshly brewed coffee segment. Let's say cold brew segment is I want trendy coffee. I want some sort of trendy coffee. I prefer cold coffee to hot coffee, and I want something trendy. Then we have the nitro cold brew for customers who want cold coffee, but want the newest. I have to have the newest. I'm not satisfied with regular cold brew anymore. I need the newest cold brew. And then matcha white chocolate affogato segment is I want the best. I have to have the best coffee. I don't care what it costs. So what they have done is they have priced their product based on the value that they provide for customer segments. So they have segmented their market very, with a fine tooth comb. I mean, this segmentation is so detailed, and they have a product that is priced to appeal to every possible segment that walks in there. So this is called discrimination pricing and segmentation pricing. And this is the business pricing model that you should be thinking about for your product. if you're pricing your product any other way than this, you're losing money. You're definitely not optimizing your pricing strategy. Now, let's look at a couple of other elements of this strategy, business model, pricing strategy. Like, there are three, in addition to the flavors, so we have a matrix with flavor, price, and size. So there are three different sizes that we can buy. What are the three different sizes? They are tall, grande, and vente. So what do those words mean? Actually, we know what tall means. If we're English speakers or we speak English, we know what tall means. What does grande mean? So tall means large, right? What does grande mean? Grande also means large. What does vente mean? Vente also means large. So basically, they just have three words that mean the same thing, although the sizes are different. That is a pretty common strategy when you have pricing tiers like this. You make a little vague. The prices are different, but the difference in what's included in the tier, it's a little vague. Now, when you, if you think about this pricing model, so discrimination pricing, meaning that we price our product based on a very precise segmentation of our market, and hopefully, if we're doing it right, we're selling basically the exact same product at different price levels. And let's say we combine this innovation with the recurring revenue innovation that we talked about in the Gillette example. So the recurring revenue plus price discrimination, the discrimination pricing business model has taken over what industry? I mean, what product category now combines the two of those? Software. So if you think about how is software sold today? Software is basically sold by combining the software revenue model today is pretty much combined the best of the Gillette business model, recurring revenue, with the best of the Starbucks business model, which is discrimination pricing. What do I mean by that? Let's think about the software industry, the pricing model. Let's say software business, business model 1.0, version 1.0 was what? This was unit price. You sold the software was sold in the software store. I don't know if anybody's old enough besides me to remember that, but you wanted to buy software, you drove to, Software City, or you drove to a store that basically sold software, like stores sell books. There would be shelves and shelves of software in boxes. You would buy the box, you would take it home, you would open it up. There was a diskette or some diskettes or later CDs inside. You would, with the printed manual, you installed the software, you read the manual, and then you used it. Unit pricing. In this case, we had one-time sale and we had physical product. So the cost model was very high. The software company had to produce the software medium, the box, the manual, and some of these manuals were thick like a dictionary. And then they would have to ship those to stores, and then they would have to maybe accept returns. They might have to have warehouses, inventory, etc. So one-time sale, and not only is my cost of customer acquisition high, but my production and distribution and sales costs are very high. But that's not how software is sold today. How is software sold today? It's all sold software as a service, SaaS, online. You go to sign up for software and you don't have to go to the store. You don't get physical medium. You don't even have to download. Typically, you don't have to download anything. You basically do what? You buy a subscription. You subscribe to a software that's running in the cloud. So the software company gets everything. Their production and distribution cost has basically fallen to zero, almost zero. They build the software and then it doesn't cost anything to distribute because you run it off their servers. So they just pay the server cost. and they get recurring revenue from you because you sign up for a subscription. And again, monthly or annual subscriptions, and these subscriptions are structured in such a way that they strongly encourage you to sign up for a longer term subscription and also typically automatically renew. And then not only have they been able to move from unit-based revenue to recurring revenue, not only have they got rid of the vast majority of their production, sales, and distribution costs, but they can use discrimination pricing. So you go to, when you buy software as a service, or you look at companies who are selling software as a service, they typically have several versions of the software, and they have equally vague names, like, you know, you'll see the bronze, silver, and gold package. So bronze, silver, and gold package, it's essentially the exact same software, just with some features enabled and some features not enabled. The underlying software itself has all the features enabled. So all the software company has to do, they take whatever the fullest featured version of software is, and then they create all the lower price version by just disabling certain features. So they really are selling the exact same product at wildly different prices. And if you look at the difference in the subscription tier pricing, like, okay, I just signed up for a new software as a service. I wanted an online database product, and they had 3 tiers of pricing, 100, this is USD, $100 per month, $200 per month, and $400 per month. And it's all the same product. And you think about that, and you have to sign up for 12 months. So actually we're talking about $1,200, so $1,000 to $5,000. So they sell that worse than Starbucks. Starbucks, the difference here between the cheapest and most expensive alternative is 2 times, a little less than 2 times. This software company, it's 4 to 5 times, 4 to 5 times for the exact same product. And it also lets them, and I can, because I sort of, pay close attention to this, I can see exactly I saw exactly what features they included and didn't include. And in fact, in my case, there was one feature that I wanted. I wanted to buy the $100 package, but there's one feature that's only available in a $400 package. And so I had several calls with their sales team, and they're trying to get me to buy the $400 package. And I said, no way. And actually I signed up for the $100 package, but now I'm negotiating with them to give me the feature from the $400 package for some slight incremental cost. But I can tell you, I was pretty close to going with that under some other circumstance, I might have bought the $400 package. So they would have upsold me 4 times just by the way that they structured their product offering, which is a function of their business model. So you can see the tremendous opportunities for improving the profitability, increasing revenue and improving the profitability of your product by using this type of recurring revenue model with discrimination pricing. So when you move to software, we can see even when we get to the employing this business model in software, we can see even another dimension for innovation in our business model. Like, what's missing from the Starbucks menu? What's missing from the Starbucks menu that you do see in software? The cheapest coffee is $1.10. What's 110 baht? What's not on this menu? You don't see any coffee that's priced at free. There's no free coffee. But when you implement this pricing model in software, there's always a free tier. And again, in my recent experience, I signed up first for the free tier. So you get the free product first. So think about that. When you use this pricing strategy and this type of revenue model, so we have a subscription-based revenue model, and we use this type of pricing where we have different pricing for different tiers, and we can address different segments with our pricing tiers. So when we have a free pricing tier, we're able to address a customer segment that no company in the past was ever able to address. Who is that customer segment? The customer who is willing to pay zero for your product. This customer doesn't want to pay anything, but now we can still acquire that customer because we have a free tier. Now you might wonder, why do we want to do that? Why do we want customers who are not willing to pay anything? The reason is we believe that later we will be able to, at some point, we'll be able to upsell that customer and start generating revenue for them. My favorite example of this is this type of pricing model is employed very often in apps, mobile apps. So my favorite example of this is Microsoft Office mobile, Office on the phone. So what is the most profitable product in the history of Microsoft? It is Office, but mobile Office is sold at what price? Zero. Actually, mobile Office, they only have one pricing tier, which is free. So they give away their historically most profitable product. That seems crazy. And if you had, if we had talked 10 years ago and you had suggested to me that 10 years from now, the most interesting new pricing model is going to be giving away your most profitable product for free, I would have thought that was nuts. But in fact, that's what happens today. Why? Because Microsoft recognizes that, or for Microsoft's strategic direction, mobile Office is not a key revenue driver. They know they're not going to be able to sell Office Productivity Suite on the phone at a profitable, for a long-term profitable price. Where do they see their long-term profits coming from? Is the cloud, their cloud services package, which is called Office 365. So what happens when you download Office on the phone? It's fully functional. It's not like a restricted version of the product. It does everything, but it's much, much more useful if you have an Office 365 subscription. So now they use the free product or the free tier to drive you into the paid tier. This is, again, another variation on this strategy, combining recurring revenue with this type of pricing model where we price based on willingness to pay. So customer segmentation, to do effective pricing model in your business model, the first thing you want to understand is who are your customer segments, and then how much is each one willing to pay? And then you develop a version of the product for each of those customer segments that's priced just at their willingness to pay. And this is how you optimize both your revenue and your profitability using innovative pricing strategies. Like, one big mistake I see a lot of companies doing, they implement this, they have a free pricing tier, and then they have paid pricing tiers. And they try to get people to move from free to paying tiers by discounting the paid tiers. But this never works. Because why? Because a lot of the customers who are using your free tier, they're never going to pay anything. They're the customer segment whose willingness to pay is zero. So by discounting your product in the paying tiers, all you do is reduce the profitability of your paying tiers, because the customers who were going to buy your paying tiers, they're going to buy without the discount. But the customers you're trying to attract with the discount, the customers who are currently paying zero, they're never going to pay more than zero. So hope you're taking away from this. Discounting and low pricing are not good strategies for startup companies. And you have many, many other more attractive options available to you, like the type of recurring revenue, price discrimination strategies that we talked about this afternoon. Okay, so that brings me to the end of my talk about business models this morning. I hope that that was useful, and I hope that you now start thinking about how do we apply this type of business model, these type of revenue models, these type of pricing strategies in our product, applied to our product. In our next class, we're going to do do something similar to what we did today. So there will be groups that didn't get a chance to present their innovation and their value proposition. We'll begin next week's class with that. So if you didn't have time, oh, so wait, there was a question. One participant asked, how can we win over Starbucks menu? So what is, not sure I understand that question. Meaning you're a competitor, let's say you're a competitor to Starbucks, right? Is that what they're trying to say? I mean, if I'm a company that wants to compete with Starbucks, from customer perspective. Oh, I mean, if you want to win from customer perspective, then just be like me. Just buy the cheapest coffee every time. Now you win. I mean, I always buy, I buy second cheapest because I want more coffee, but I always buy, I always buy tall, like I buy the grande brew coffee of the day. So I'm getting the same coffee as everybody else, but I'm getting it at the lowest possible price. All right, so, but I'm glad we noticed, I hope another important takeaway from our lesson today was the customer perspective and the company perspective may be very different. Cheap products are good for customers, but they're not good for the company. So discount might be good for the customer, they're not good for the company. So let's think about balancing those two perspectives, customer perspective and company perspective. Okay, so thanks everybody for your kind attention and for making presentations today. Don't feel left out. If you didn't get a present, you'll get to do that in the next session. And enjoy the rest of your week. And I look forward to seeing you back here in our next class.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody. Have a good day.